Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. Today, I'm celebrating over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is phenomenal considering that we got this started just a few months ago. So, thank you so much for joining me. And today, I bring you a company that I think the market is sleeping on. It's called Roblox. It has the potential, in my view, to evolve into something like Meta, maybe a decade or two down the line, perhaps even less, a platform which people generally use to socialize with others. And most people are not aware of the existence of this company, and those that are most likely are aware of the existence of the company because they see their kids playing on it. And so most of those people think that Roblox is just a silly little children's game. But actually, if you look at the fundamentals and how the company is evolving, you can clearly see that if those trends continue, in a relatively short amount of time, this is going to be a platform that people generally use to communicate, share stuff, socialize, just like they would use Instagram or Facebook or even YouTube and stuff like that. So let's get deep into this. And if you hang around until the end, I will tell you what is my conclusion about this stock and whether I buy it or not. So hang around and please enjoy the rest of the video. In an interview that I listened to featuring Roblox's CEO and co-founder David Baszukci, he explains how in the early days of the platform, the co-founders would hang out, quote unquote, with the first 200 users. In the interview, he calmly uses that term as if there was something remotely normal about it, which in my view, there absolutely wasn't. Roblox was created 17 years ago, and the image of people logging in to interact with each other back then via blunt-looking avatars, which would be even blunter than the ones that Roblox has today, is considerably nihilistic. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. Humans do absurd things often, but what is strange in the case of Roblox is that those initial gatherings have snowballed into a user base of more than 71 million daily active users. After millions of years of evolution, it is an instance of great existential sarcasm that such an event would happen on planet Earth, that a meaningful percentage of all human beings, actually 0.8% of all human beings, would come to participate in such a directionless endeavor. Yet there is clearly something fundamentally important about a movement that scales in this manner, so it's definitely worth a look. My core observation is that Roblox's initial mission could have been to get people to gather online and pretend to be chickens, and still the platform would have succeeded. Via tremendous process power, Roblox has turned a trivial hobby of a few hundred into a culture with more adherents than the total number of inhabitants in the United Kingdom, which, by the way, is 66.97 million as we speak. When Baszukci company started out, there was no way they could have foreseen this, but they have found their way by listening to users and iterating quickly for 17 years. The intangible nature of Roblox's success is best illustrated by Wolfram's Rule of 30, introduced by Stephen Wolfram in 1983. It specifies the next color in a cell, depending on its color and its immediate neighbor. So following a very simple set of rules. The first few iterations form simple patterns, but after a few hundreds of iterations, the resulting formations are exquisitely complex and unpredictable to a human mind. Similarly, Roblox has emerged as a gigantic and rich culture, starting out with an absurd MVP, a minimum viable product, by following a few rules every day for a very long time. What is fairly interesting about this business is that to disrupt it, someone would have to go through the same iterative steps Roblox has taken over the past 17 years to create a similar culture. Either that or Roblox's culture becomes irrelevant by itself, which would seem unlikely given a continuation of the aforementioned process power. The world indirectly attempted to wrap its head around Roblox's process power with the rise of the term metaverse in 2021, but with the ensuing disillusionment about virtual reality, the stock is still down over 70% from all-time highs in Q4 2021. The decline has also been motivated by Roblox's latest investment cycle, which we saw start in Q1 2022 and which has fleetingly dampened the company's net income and free cash flow levels. However, Roblox is now emerging from its capex bonanza with a fundamentally much stronger platform, with a substantially higher number of daily active users, total hours engaged, bookings, and free cash flow. Although the 2021 metrics seemed hard to match in hindsight, the company's process power has once again shined through. Over the past few years, the market seems to have projected the quote-unquote metaverse is dead narrative onto Roblox's income and cash flow statements, misinterpreting the temporarily lagging financials as an actual decline in the platform's relevance. Certainly, year-over-year growth has not been as fast as in 2021, but the long-term trend remains more than appealing. To be fair, average bookings per DAO have been trending down since Q4 2020, which, if read from too close up, would have one believe that the platform was indeed becoming less relevant. But this is why I always insist in the importance of qualitatives. It makes total sense for this metric to decrease, as people are increasingly free to leave their house again towards the end of the pandemic. In turn, notice how average bookings per DAO is actually seasonally higher in Q4, and how in Q4 2023, the metric matched the Q4 2021 levels, which were all-time highs, as far as I'm concerned, for the first time since. In the Q4 2023 conference call, management explained that they are not optimizing for this metric to go up, but it is encouraging to see the trend begin to revert. They said in the call, in fact, that they are concentrating their efforts on growing the network and increasing engagement. Now, Roblox's main problem is that at the moment, most of its users are kids, and we can't tell whether they're going to continue using the platform as they grow up. And that's definitely my initial impression when I did a deep dive on Roblox early last year. But at least for me, the uncertainty on this front is fading, and let me explain why. As you can see on the right-hand side of the graph below, users over the age of 13 now account for more than half of all total users. I am therefore increasingly confident about Roblox's ability to age up its user base, and the underlying mechanism has much to do with Wolfram's Rule of 32. It is simply an extension of Roblox's innate organizational capabilities. During the Q4 call, an analyst asked Baszukci what factors he believes are driving the growth of this cohort, and his answer has process power written all over it. Here's what he said: I want to highlight we have been doing this for 2, 3, or 4 years already, and several years back, the vast majority of people on our platform were under 13, and so seeing the growth over 13 is a really good sign. Here's where it gets interesting. We attribute it to such a wide range of things: quality of the platform, search and discovery, organic growth of new older players, existing players retaining and aging up. So the point is, he can't quite point to anything in particular because management barely takes any specific measures that are top-down. They simply set the overarching mandate and foster the organization's process power over time. When a new goal gets introduced into the company's objective function, the process power makes it more likely than not that the goal will be eventually achieved. Of course, the new goal in question must be suitable for the organization, but if carefully picked, it works. Qualitatively, the other aspect that I find encouraging is that, per management's comments, the behavior of higher age cohorts on the platform is starting to emulate that in other well-known platforms. For instance, voice DAOs, so people that use Roblox to talk via voice, like they would on WhatsApp, for instance, continue to grow fast, and it's up 161% year over year. In Q3 2023, voice DAOs were up 240% year over year, and unfortunately, management did not disclose the absolute number of voice DAOs, but we do know that they had 2 million in Q2 2023, so it's not like the voice DAOs is a small thing. Here's a quote from David Baszukci in the Q4 call, which I think you will find insightful. He said, We do see a play habits generally of older players that might mirror what we see in existing gaming and communication markets. We can see certain cohorts that might lean in for longer engagement on a PC-type experience. We can see other cohorts that lean in socially on mobile, meaning that people are starting to use this platform in a way that is not really representative of this platform just being a kid's game. I think it's evolving into something much, much larger. In my Roblox deep dive, I explained the importance of search for Roblox as it ages up its user base, since that is the part of the product that will enable age cohorts to coexist on the platform. For instance, Roblox doesn't want to show adult games to children, since that would be inappropriate and would ultimately harm the engagement of younger cohorts. In the Q4 2023 call, management said that many countries, including Japan, Germany, Spain, Italy, and generally most of Western Europe, are growing dramatically. When asked about the drivers, here's what Baszukci replied, and here what he basically said is that search is really, really important. And highlighting, when we talk about product quality in Japan, that's the platform-wide product quality, not Japan-only product quality. And that goes all the way down to raw product performance on low-end devices, for example, which can help accelerate countries like India. Search can help accelerate all countries. So really, we target the platform as a whole generally. So it looks like management remains set in its ways of achieving growth via organic means, and that search is a core component of that strategy. Not that I think they would miss the importance of getting search right to balance the multiple age cohorts, but it is definitely encouraging to see that they're on the ball. Now, in my Roblox deep dive, I talked about two drivers that could increase the company's revenue at a marginal cost. One being running ads in its 3D immersive environments, and the second one being enabling creators to do more with less via generative AI. But progress on these two fronts is yet scarcely visible. In Q4 2023, Roblox had real advertising bookings for the first time ever, which is great, with 69 brands now advertising on the platform. During the call, management said that revenue is not meaningful enough to disclose yet, and that they will do when it is meaningful. But I anticipate that this part of the business will grow fast over the coming years, and that it will be highly profitable. I think that the 3D immersive advertising is going to exponentiate Roblox's free cash flow yield, and I think it's going to have the stock doing very well over the coming decade. With the platform continuing to grow and age up successfully, the odds are very much in favor of the company in this sense. They have more and more people engaging more and more over time. The user base is aging up, and by the way, the older users monetize better. So I think that the tailwinds are all in place. In my deep dive, I also outlined how Roblox launched two generative AI features in Q1 2023, which shipped in Q2 2023, but I see no mention regarding their progress in the subsequent calls. Instead, in the Q4 2023 call, management made plenty of emphasis on the AI driving real-time chat translation and voice processing for security and civility. By the way, in case you don't know this, Roblox has historically been very focused on the safety on the platform, which is one of the reasons for which they have been able to compound their still relatively young user base for nearly 2 decades now. Now, as promised, regarding the conclusion, do I buy this stock or do I not? Here are my final thoughts, until the next update, of course. I get the feeling that as Roblox continues to emerge from its recent capex cycle, the market will reward the company for its resultingly higher levels of free cash flow per share. With the platform reaching all-time highs across metrics, I think the stock is likely to see a meaningful multiple expansion going forward. So that's very, very appealing. Additionally, I believe that the 2021 to 2024 period is a great additional validation of Roblox's process power. As a result, my appreciation of the quality of the company lessens the various concerns I had about the business previously, such as the perilous nature of the young user base and whether they would continue using the platform as they get older or not. I believe that Roblox's process power is sufficient for it to age up the user base and continue being relevant going forward. Not just continue being relevant, but being much, much more relevant over the coming decade. I do anticipate that. Having said that, per the drastic and evaluation, I still consider, Spotify to be a better investment at present. Incidentally, the Spotify thesis is actually very similar in nature to this one. Spotify has world-class process power, and now that they've added efficiency / profitability to their objective function, it's now only a matter of time before they post fantastic profits. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing Spotify close up in the coming few quarters, and I think that they're going to surprise. I think that this year the stock is likely to do very, very well under normal macroeconomic conditions. So we will see how that does. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much to all 1,000 of you for subscribing. And I'm looking forward to making this much bigger, hearing much more from you guys. So if you enjoyed this video, please share it. And until next time.